You are listening to A Quiet Mind. Hello everyone, and congratulations for being here right now in this moment. First of all, let's start off with checking in on our breathing by taking a few deep, slow breaths. Starting now, breathe in all the way, like we've talked about before, where you say to yourself, in on the whole in breath, then hold, and then out on the entire out breath. Let's do that together now. In. Now hold that. Exhale. Saying out. Now, once again, saying in during the whole in breath. Hold that. Now exhale. Saying out the whole breath. Feel that breath and that exhale going all the way down to your toes, right down into the ground, feeling fully relaxed. Just let your shoulders relax. Relax the tension in your hands, your back. And breathe again normally now, in and out. Now, if you listen to our last podcast, we touched very briefly on something that I believe is paramount to our finally having that quiet mind. And that is our story, the story of ourself. And we spoke a little bit about it in the last podcast, how we were going to let go of our story. And I would like to continue that in this podcast as well. And I want to touch on a few of the things that may have sounded to you very, very contradictory to what we have been saying in earlier podcasts, especially when we talk about the negative or the dark things also being a part of us, and see the us in quotation marks. And bear with me as we go further along into these podcasts together and on our journey. I'm sure more and more and more will become clearer to you. And I may be jumping a little bit ahead here, but I don't think so, because I know that each and every one of you out there really knows exactly what I'm talking about. And though I may say something that might push some buttons or bring some issues up, if we're not bringing these issues up, and if we are not pushing our own buttons and looking deeper, then I say we're not doing our job, because this really is a journey of self-investigation. And what we're going to do in that self-investigation is we're going to look at every part of ourself that we know, and that being all the ideas, thoughts, desires, the habitual conditioning that we refer to as the self. And we're going to look at all of the things that we might say are not what we want to be right now. And this is not what we want to be doing right now. And if we could only change what is in front of us now, then we would feel better. What we want to do on our journey is understand that we are already there. The journey ends with the quiet mind. And I know some of these things may be confusing, so I want to encourage you, please, to go onto our website, aquietmind.com, and find there that we have a weblog where you can go and discuss anything that you want to from any show. And I would really like to encourage you to go and to dialogue a little bit with me and some of our other wonderful listeners who have some amazing insights, and they have gone through their own learning process, and they're there to share as well. So go to aquietmind.com and follow the link to the website, and there you will see that you can comment on the weblog. And I would really love to get your feedback. I would really like to see where you are right now in your journey. And if any of this confuses you or you think it contradicts, please open up a dialogue, and I will do my best to answer as quickly as possible. So the objective here is to find peace. And what I'm trying to say is, why find or have to go out and find or search for what is already present? Just a breath away, there it is. There's the peace. And I know that you can feel it now. But we don't want to avoid the negative in saying, this person that is near me, maybe it's my mate, my brother or sister, my teacher, a friend, an acquaintance. This person, for example, we could say this person has a bad and negative energy, and I don't want that around me because that interferes with my practice. What I'm saying here is, I'm not condoning anything negative, but I'm saying is embrace all. That's what our last podcast was about. Embrace all. Don't avoid this negative and believe that you have to take negative thoughts and the negative feelings that are in you right now and crush them and squash them and avoid them. We want to embrace them and accept them. They did come from somewhere. They didn't just come from some unknown source outside of ourselves. But this may be your belief system at this time, but if you can just suspend that belief system for a moment and think, what if then these negative thoughts that I have, because you see, it's a negative thought to have a thought about someone whom you are saying is negative. Now you are having a negative thought. Now, that means that what we can do is see that the negative thought and judgment that we have about someone else or something else outside of us that is negative is bringing up a negative feeling inside of us. Try as an experiment how you feel when you accept what you refer to as negative. Now, I'm not condoning negative behavior. I'm saying this is something new for us to experiment with, to try. Just try it for a moment. Just try to look at that so-called negative feeling that you're having and understand that this only compounds what you are judging outside of yourself as a negative. So, if we accept that, if we work on accepting that, then this will dissipate. You see, we will no longer be contributing to this circle of negativity because we will have dropped that part of the story that we're talking about of ourself. And that story of ourself is that part of us that has the opinions. Now we need to let these go. We need to let our opinions go. We're working toward a quiet mind. This is a mind that is not thinking all of the time. And that's all we're really working towards here. Now, we're not working at trying to find this blissful state through any kind of method, because then we will need to always have the methods or the tools in order to experience the so-called state of bliss. What I'm inviting you to do is to experience that state of bliss right now, in this very moment. I'm inviting you to experience it now, without any methods and without any tools, because this is who you truly are. We're going to strip away, and strip away, and strip away all that is not who we are. But first, we must accept everything as us. Only when we see that everything is us and we accept it, can we begin to shed away that which we want to shed away. But first, we have to accept it. We have to see it for what it is. And once again, this is not about condemning, because the ego mind wants to condemn, because that's part of its trick. That's part of how it controls us. So, we do not need to avoid the so-called enemy outside or the enemy within. Once again, we're going to embrace all without judgment. Love that part of yourself that you want to call negative. When people behave around you in a negative way, try today not to judge, just accept, because you can understand that you cannot cure a negative behavior or stop a negative thing from happening by having a negative reaction to it. This is two heads butting against each other. We need to be able to embrace. And in that embrace, we find love for ourselves. We find love for everyone around us. We find peace and harmony. And we are genuinely being unconditionally loving and compassionate with ourselves and with all of those that are around us. Thank you for listening, and I invite you once again to write to me with any questions you may have at robert@aquietmind.com.